A trick that everyone abhors in little girls is slamming doors. A wealthy banker's little daughter who lived in Palace Green, Bayswater, by name Rebecca Offendor, was given to this furious sport. She would deliberately go and slam the door like Billy Ho to make her Uncle Jacob start. She was not really bad at heart, but only rather rude and wild. She was an aggravating child. It happened that a marble bust of Abraham was standing just above the door this little lamb had carefully prepared to slam. And down it came, it knocked her flat, it laid her out, she looked like that. Her funeral sermon, which was long and followed by a sacred song, mentioned her virtues, it is true, but dwelt upon her vices too, and showed the dreadful end of one who goes and slams the door for fun. The children who were brought to hear the awful tale from far and near were much impressed and inly swore they never more would slam the door, as often they had done before.
Of Henry King was chewing little bits of string. At last he swallowed some which tied itself in ugly knots inside. Physicians of the utmost fame were called at once, but when they came, they answered as they took their fees, there is no cure for this disease. Henry will very soon be dead. His parents stood about his bed, lamenting his untimely death, when Henry with his latest breath cried, "Oh, child expires."
There was a boy whose name was Jim. His friends were very good to him. They gave him tea and cakes and jam and slices of delicious ham and chocolate with pink inside and little tricycles to ride, and read him stories through and through, and even took him to the zoo. But there it was, the dreadful fate befell him, which I now relate. You know, or at least you ought to know, for I have often told you so, that children never are allowed to leave their nurses in a crowd. Now this was Jim's especial foible. He ran away when he was able, and on this inauspicious day he slipped his hand and ran away. yard went bang. With open jaws a lion sprang and hungrily began to eat the boy beginning at his feet. Now just imagine how it feels when first your toes and then your heels, and then by gradual degrees your shins and ankles, calves and knees are slowly eaten bit by bit. No wonder Jim detested it. No wonder that he shouted high. The honest keeper heard his cry. Though very fat, he almost ran to help the little gentleman. Ponto, he cried with angry frown. Let go, sir, down, sir, put it down. Sudden stop, he let the dainty morsel drop and slunk reluctant to his cage, snarling with disappointed rage. But when he bent him over Jim, the honest keeper's eyes were dim. The lion having reached his head, the miserable boy was dead. When nurse informed his parents, they were more concerned than I can say. His mother, as she dried her eyes, said, well, it gives me no surprise. He would not do as he was told. His father, who was self-controlled, bade all the children round attend to James's miserable end, and always keep a hold of nurse for fear of finding something worse.
Matilda told such dreadful lies, it made one gasp and stretch one's eyes. Her aunt, who from her earliest youth had kept a strict regard for truth, attempted to believe Matilda. The effort very nearly killed her, and would have done so had not she discovered this infirmity. For once towards the close of day, Matilda, growing tired of play and finding she was left alone, went tiptoe to the telephone and summoned the immediate aid of London's noble fire brigade. Within an hour the gallant band were pouring in on every hand, from Putney, Hackney, Downs and Bow. With courage high and hearts aglow, they galloped roaring through the town. Matilda's house is burning down. Inspired by British cheers and loud proceeding from the frenzied crowd, they ran their ladders through a score of windows on the ballroom floor, and took peculiar pains to souse the pictures up and down the house, until Matilda's aunt succeeded in showing them they were not needed. And even then she had to pay to get the men to go away. It happened that a few weeks later her aunt was off to the theater to see that interesting play, The Second Mrs. Tanqueray. She had refused to take her niece to hear this entertaining piece of deprivation, just and wise to punish her for telling lies. That night a fire did break out. You should have heard Matilda shout. You should have heard her scream and bawl and throw the window up and call to people passing in the street the rapidly increasing heat, encouraging her to obtain their confidence. But all in vain. For every time she shouted fire, they only answered little liar. And therefore when her aunt returned, Matilda and the house were burned.
took the wrong way home one day when he had finished school and walked behind the lion's cage along the Liverpool. It was the lion's dinner time, and Charles was rather late. He made the lion smile a smile and wag his awful pate. The lion licked his greedy lips, and Charles began to climb. And when they met, the lion said, "This is an awkward time." And though the keeper ran to help, and when he came was kind, he only found some bits of Charles that people could not find. When George's grandmama was told that George had been as good as gold, she promised in the afternoon to buy him an immense balloon. And so she did, but when it came, it got into the candle flame, and being of a dangerous sort, exploded with a loud report. The lights went out, the windows broke, the room was filled with a reeking smoke, and in the darkness shrieks and yells were mingled with electric bells, and falling masonry and groans, and crunching as of broken bones, and dreadful shrieks when worst of all, the house itself began to fall. It tottered shuddering to and fro, then crashed into the street below, which happened to be Crooked Lane, where all the people were insane. They rushed out madly all about, and all their lamps and lights went out. And then, oh horrible to say, they screamed and ran the other way. The lights went out, the windows broke, the room was filled with a reeking smoke, and in the darkness shrieks and yells were mingled with electric bells, and falling masonry and groans, and crunching as of broken bones, and dreadful shrieks when worst of all, the house itself began to fall. It tottered shuddering to and fro, then crashed into the street below, which happened to be Crooked Lane, where all the people were insane. They rushed out madly all about, and all their lamps and lights went out. And then, oh horrible to say, they screamed and ran the other way. The lights went out, the windows broke, the room was filled with a reeking smoke, and in the darkness shrieks and yells were mingled with electric bells, and falling masonry and groans, and crunching as of broken bones, and dreadful shrieks when worst of all, the house itself began to fall. It tottered shuddering to and fro, then crashed into the street below, which happened to be Crooked Lane, where all the people were insane. They rushed out madly all about, and all their lamps and lights went out. And then, oh horrible to say, they screamed and ran the other way, till each was sure that he was dead. And then they found poor George's head. For half a mile around the town they searched in vain till someone found. And then they put it on a plate and carried it to Mrs. Tate, who went about with all her friends collecting funds to make amends, and found by various curious channels the sum of 2 and 7 pence for candles. The moral of this verse is plain: play not with fire, you'll burn again. You'll burn again.
The whale that wanders round the pole is not a table fish. You cannot bake or boil him whole, nor serve him in a dish. But you may cut his blubber up and melt it down for oil, and so obtain the light by which you study and embroil. Oh, his tongue weighs many tons, and yet he has no vocal cord, and so he cannot tell you what he really thought he thought. But if you were to see him when he rises to the breeze, you'd know that whale is just as big as any house you please.
hippopotamus is strong and huge of head and broad of thigh. But when he opens up his mouth, it's always worth your while to try. Observe the hippopotamus, weighs twice as much as any bus. And yet should you the creature cram, he'd fit inside a frying pan. The hippopotamus is a beast most obstinate and stout. His hide is tarred and leathery, he never lets it out. His mouth is like a furnace door, he belches smoke and flame. And when he eats, he makes a noise as though it were a game. I shoot the hippopotamus with bullets made of platinum, because if I use leaden ones, his hide is sure to flatten them.
The vulture eats between his meals, and that's the reason why he very, very rarely feels as well as you and I. His eye is dull, his head is bald, his neck is growing thinner. Oh, what a lesson for us all to only eat at dinner.
Henry King was a good little boy, but he cheated at games whenever he could. He cheated at games at school, at home, in the streets, and in church, when he really should. He altered the rules whenever he played, he always tried to win. And if anyone caught him in the act, he would say it's not a sin. He cheated at cards, at marbles, at races, at cricket, at ping pong. He even cheated in hopscotch and football, and at tennis and checkers and ring-a-ring song. His parents tried to teach him, the teachers tried as well, but Henry only laughed and said, I'll cheat as long as I can, oh very well. He cheated at cards, at marbles, at races, at cricket, at ping pong. He even cheated in hopscotch and football, and at tennis and checkers and ring-a-ring song. His parents tried to teach him, the teachers tried as well, but Henry only laughed and said, I'll cheat as long as I can, oh very well. But then one day it came to pass, as all such stories go, that Henry was caught cheating once too often, and his heart said no, he never cheated again. Alas, he died in his very best clothes, and the doctors all shook their heads and said his heart could not bear his woes. So children, take warning from Henry King, and play fair at everything you do. For cheating may seem fun today, but tomorrow it may kill you too.